Oh, hey, we're live.
You gonna make it, man?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I'm all good. Hi,
I usually
everybody.
call in sick. You can. I mean,
Nope.
Bucci taking one for the team today.
I am here filling in for the Ironhead. It's the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show coming to you live from State College's Quaker Steak and Lube.
Hello.
We are crossing our fingers that Ironhead is going to come back here with W. Big time wrestling match in the Big Ten going on, Goon, between Penn State and Michigan. Man, I'll tell you what, it's hard to tell sometimes when Ironhead, who has followed the team so closely, whether, sometimes he's maybe just talking the team up. But I'll tell you what,
pretty jacked up about
he
this
was pouring it on about Michigan on Tuesday. And I know, talking to him off the air, he's been saying the exact same kind of stuff. He said, especially now with the injuries out in Iowa,
that Michigan
it's
is
a two-team race that's being represented in this duel happening.
I 100% agree. I mean, Michigan pulled some guys in and through the transfer portal, and they've been – I don't know. I mean, I hate talking about wrestling because I'm not really that into it, but I do go to nationals every year. It's like, so obviously I'm a genius if I go to nationals every year.
Absolutely.
But, I mean, Michigan is one of those teams that has always been on that cusp of being –
little added
Ohio
intrigue with
State,
the
Michigan.
long ago former Nittany Lion, Nick Soriano, on the Wolverines.
Well,
now,
especially after all the rumors of him coming back here and being here.
Yeah.
And
I hate
more drama from that kid than any other athlete at Penn State.
Yeah.
That's a lot of drama following that kid.
Yeah.
It has been for 4 years now.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
I don't know his situation.
That's the greatest part about wrestling. So you weren't on the air when we talked about this. And that was, I made a comment years ago when I was at Nationals with Nate Carr Sr.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to Ironhead about it, and I just laugh my booty off every time I think about it. And I'm like, you know what? It's always like the little smack talkers in football who always are fighting, they're like seventh string cornerbacks. Like, so if you watch like the wrestling nationals, they're like in a hall, and there's 20 guys lined up, all the guys that are going to wrestle each other in each weight. So you're literally in a hall with 20 other guys who you're going to compete with, wrestle, beat up, do whatever, bleed on, sweat on, this and that. And I said, Nate, and Mr. Carr is an older fellow. He was on the 80, 84 Olympic teams and this and that, National Wrestling Hall of Fame, one of the Carr family guys from Erie, just a fantastic man. And I said, how much shit talking's going on? How much are guys talking out there? Because I was like, I always hated talking. I always hated the little dudes who were always talking. I'm like, these little guys on that wrestling team, they're yapping. And he says, I guarantee you not one person saying a word down there. And I said, really? I said, usually in football, it's like, you get 100 guys versus 100 guys. He goes, that's the problem. In wrestling, it's 1 versus 100 guys.
Yeah, right.
And he goes, you walk into a room, you're the only one on that mat. And if you want to talk, you better back it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, my God. I said, there's nobody talking. He goes, I guarantee you no one's saying a word down there. And it's so it's just say 189. To run them out there before the tournament even starts. They have them all lined up in a hallway, all the 189 wrestlers, all 32 guys that qualified or 35 guys that qualified. So you think there would be some kind of like, I got you, I can't wait, I'm going to kick your ass, nothing. He said there's zero talk. Because you can't hide. And I'm just like, that's the greatest thing of all time that I've ever heard. And it's so true. Like, when you can't hide. You get in that ring, you get in that squared circle, it's over. It's you versus another guy. And you were yapping, you're going to pay for it or you better back it up.
Yeah.
So I thought it was always pretty cool listening to those guys talk. And hearing those inside stories is great because I don't have it. And I've never wrestled in my life. I never really went to matches until within the last 5, 6, 10 years. So, it is fun talking to those type of guys and getting those behind the scene stories. And it was funny to hear.
Now, you said you never liked smack talking. That is not what I heard about you hollering out the bus at the IM soccer players.
No,
every time
it was always our team. I don't mind smack talking, but I was right around what was it? The 94 was the World Cup that was played here. And we always kidded around. You ever heard it? And there was always that one announcer in Maradona. You know what I mean? The guy who screams goal. I would drive by the Penn State hockey, or a Penn State soccer match on Friday night on our way to Top Trees. I mean, Noble's told you those stories, right?
Sure.
Like the offensive bus, it was like no coaches are involved. We're up there having a great time, laughing, joking, screaming at the soccer match, yelling, screaming, having a good time, And then the defensive bus, and Buddy Sarah's on the bus, and he's pretty much, it's like, he like turns your head, he would yell at you, get your game face on. You're like, you're playing in 16 hours. Like, I always used to be like, let's just at least be human until at least game day
Sure.
here,
Yeah.
But it was just funny how some coaches and some players handle it. And the defensive guys on our team were always, like, Buddy had those guys just
wound really tight.
Wound really, really, really tight. And the offensive guys were, and we played that way too. In '94, it was just a fun and gun time. So
before we get off Michigan, since we brought them up, we're hoping that Indy Lions finish strong in wrestling this weekend. I just got to ask, do you have any kind of personal sense of which way you think it is going to go with Harbaugh and Michigan? So my wife was telling me that you know John U. Bacon,
yeah.
right? Yeah, the author who
Yes.
wrote the Fourth and Long book. He's in the Saving the Roar documentary, but he's a Michigan guy. He's Michigan grad,
He's Michigan through and through.
big time amazing Blue
He's a good
fan.
man because I dealt with him a lot when he was writing that book and stuff like that.
Absolutely. Excellent journalist and a good dude. Nobody's perfect. So he is a Michigan alum.
And I make sure he knows that all the time. And he goes, I know, Goon. I know.
Yeah, good.
I went to Michigan. I know.
Good.
I know.
So he's been tweeting about this
for 3 weeks now.
Like
more to come.
daily updates,
More to
right?
come.
Yeah.
More to come.
He doesn't really seem to know.
Nope.
And I think he's about as close to the program there as any of the quote unquote insiders who you see talk to the public at all.
Sure.
Early on, because look, these Harbaugh to the NFL rumors come up all the time. Anytime you have a guy who's played in a Super Bowl, coaching a Super Bowl, there's going to be speculation he's going to go back to the league at some point. I've never really taken them too seriously, but this past year, I thought, man, the guy had a little bit of an indignity. I know your whole theory about that he's just kind of a lunatic, and he asked for the pay cut, but he took the pay cut, right? And then
he took the pay cut to prove himself.
Yeah, well, and then you add in all the stuff with the NIL and the transfer portal, and you got to think, if there are NFL teams calling and offering him big money to just coach and not have to deal with any of this crap, does he maybe think about making the jump? So I was starting to think, man, like, he hasn't come out and shot this down.
Yep.
There are some good jobs open. I thought the jobs open last cycle were pretty bad. I think the jobs open this year,
specifically the
there's
Bears,
some pretty good ones.
I mean, he's royalty in Chicago.
Well, you look at the Bears, you look at
Miami, and then Vegas,
Miami,
are the three that he's
Jacksonville, and Las Vegas. Those are all places where you either have a playoff team, you're taking over a playoff team, or you have a team that just drafted a quarterback. That's always the question. What's the quarterback position? So the NFL head coaching vacancies are more attractive this year. As a Penn State fan, I think I would like to see what is going on at Michigan and what he seems to have rolling there disrupted. Now, prior to this season, if you would have asked me what's your hope for Jim Harbaugh's job status in Michigan, keep it there for a decade. Right now, I'm not so sure. But I thought, yeah, maybe this is maybe going to happen. But then a week ago, they hired Notre Dame's defensive line coach to the same job. So if you're Jim Harbaugh and you're talking to other teams, are you going out and trying to hire new position coaches, number one? And if you've got a good job, now maybe he knew he was going to let go because of the coaching change in Notre Dame. But if you've got a good spot, like the defensive line coach there, are you making a lateral move to a place where you think the head coach might be gone in a week or two? I don't know. That to me was indicative that he's staying.
Was he part of Kelly's staff and then invited to LSU and then wasn't retained?
He was still at the time Michigan hired him. He was still on the Notre Dame payroll.
Okay. Well, I mean, if he got retained, I mean, there could be a pay. I don't think Jim Harbaugh is going anywhere personally. I think it is like our coach used it as a ploy for assistant coaches' pay, NIL money, as well as facility improvement. Mm-hmm. I think that what Harbaugh is trying to do right now, and he's going to hold out as long as he possibly can for all of that. And, I mean, if I was him, I would say, what else do I need to prove to you to say, give me these things?
Sure. Beat Ohio State.
Beat Ohio State.
Win the Big
finally,
Ten. Go to the
won
playoffs.
the Big Ten. Acted like they won the Super Bowl, and it looked like that because the way they played against Georgia.
Get absolutely smoked in the playoffs.
Yes, and it just looked like it looked like the Michigan of old that goes to the Rose Bowl, and they've already won their World Series because they're going to the Rose Bowl. That was always the knock on Michigan.
Yeah, it definitely felt like the Ohio State game was the Super Bowl and the playoffs was the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, I had friends texting me like, did they just win the Super Bowl? I mean, that's what they were acting. I mean, I understand it's a big rivalry and you hadn't beat them in 10 years and all this, but I mean, act like you've been there, I guess, you know?
And that's why I think there is some danger in assigning that much gravity to a regular season game.
That's why Harbaugh had so much pressure on him because that's the only thing they worry about out there is them winning Big Ten titles and beating Ohio State.
Well, look, it's a lot like the Iron Bowl, right? Like if Alabama wins the Iron Bowl, that's, you know, a meaningful win, but just another regular season win. If Auburn wins it, no matter what else, the season's a success.
Right now, yeah, it's like what was the
guarantee you there are Auburn fans who are happier right now than many Alabama fans because Bama didn't win the championship and Auburn won the Iron Bowl, even though, like, you know, Auburn had a very pedestrian season.
Is it sort of like what's going on 3 hours east of here? The Eagle fans are like, I don't care that we lost. The Cowboys got crushed, so I like that better.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's
one
the
of them.
adage. Are you
I am
happier?
one of them.
I mean, the Eagles were on borrowed time. They
100%.
shouldn't have been there. The fact they even made it, I was ecstatic
House
about
money.
them making it.
Yeah.
I mean, at one point, the Eagles had the 3rd, 6th, and 9th picks in the drafts. And now they have 15, 16, 19, I believe.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? So, I mean, that's a pretty good second half of the season. But, I mean, I just laughed at – I mean, some Eagle fans are happier, and they're actually – yeah, and there's no way to explain other than that. They're happier that the Cowboys lost and the Eagles didn't win.
So somebody called into WIP apparently on Friday and asked the question, what do you guys care more about? Would you rather see a Philadelphia win or a Dallas loss?
Philadelphia win. I mean, I just think the Eagle fans were –
That's a crazy question.
Going that far. No matter if they won that game last week or not.
Right. But everybody, I mean, you still would have, if you could have only had one last weekend, like, so if Philly won, Dallas would win also. You'd still pick the Eagles to win the game.
I don't know, man. That wasn't, but how they lost it, does that come into play? How the Cowboys lost was the best part.
It really was beautiful. It was.
I mean, watching those videos today, the people's
so
reaction.
Great.
You didn't get to the far point where the guy ripped the TV off the wall after punching it and then shoots it 8 times. A television over a Cowboys wild card game lost. I find that absolutely hilarious.
I'll tell you what, I assume the majority of the audience is with us on hating the Dallas Cowboys. So if you're a Cowboys fan,
have in common.
If you're a Cowboys fan, I apologize, but it has been absolutely miserable for them for a long time.
I'm not.
For a long time, it has been really bad.
Hell, I was under 300 pounds the last time they won a Super Bowl. Does that give you an indication?
I mean, not just that it's been a long time since they've won a Super Bowl, but it's been a long time since they've mattered, really, right?
Yeah.
3 playoff wins in, about 25 years?
Is it 3?
Yeah.
Well, who got them? How many? Romo got what?
Romo got a handful.
But that was it. He couldn't get off the schneid for a while there.
Do you know? And you know who we have to thank for the downslide? Who started the whole thing?
Hold on. If you say Rich Kotite, I'm going to laugh.
No, it's your boy, man, Kerry Collins.
What, with the Giants?
With the Carolina Panthers. You remember after Dallas won the 95 Super Bowl, they played Carolina, upstart Carolina, in the second round. It was the divisional round, and Carolina upset them to go to the NFC Championship game. That was the crazy year where the 2 expansion teams, Jacksonville and Carolina, were both in their respective conference championship games.
The boys, huh?
And they had to get through the Aikman, Emmett Smith, Michael Irvin dynasty to get there.
Jay Novacek era.
Yeah.
God, that guy tortured us.
He sure did. He sure did.
Has a fan base other than like a Philadelphia Eagle, Penn State fan been tortured by tight ends more? Has there a fan base that's been tortured more by tight ends? I mean, historically, we can't cover a tight end at Penn State, and obviously we can't really do it versus the Cowboys because Witt made a living on the Eagles. So did Novacek.
That's a tough combination. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we historically have always created fantastic tight ends, opposing tight ends. Now we're producing our own, but either or. No, let's get into the weekend, man. I mean, I'm over last weekend. I'm still laughing and joking with the Cowboys because it's just so funny that they're still imploding. And now they're talking about Kellen Moore getting a head coaching job in the NFL, and then he's getting plenty of offers, and I think he's a big asset to that team. So I hope they keep Mike McCarthy, and I hope he goes somewhere else. The AFC. Well, I also heard that Kellen Moore might even get fired from the Cowboys. They're that upset with him about how their offense played. That's ludicrous, but like a typical Jerry Jones emotional, reactive move. Of course, yeah, yep. Hey, may Jerry Jones own the Cowboys for 1,000 more years. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, because he came in and bought it. He bought his 2 or 3. Excuse me. He got his 3 titles, and then Daniel Snyder tried to do the same exact thing, and he's been struggling since, and he's just been destroying programs since. Since this is a classic example of Goon and Book go entirely off the rails, sure. Let me just point out the Jerry Jones buying those Super Bowls. Do you ever think about how history would have been different if the Vikings would not have agreed to that ludicrous trade for Herschel Walker? I mean, that was an insane trade. 8 players for 1 or something like that? Yeah, that set up. Now, to credit to Jimmy Johnson for drafting a bunch of guys who could play. I mean, was it Jimmy Johnson or was it Jerry Jones? I would say it's Jimmy Johnson for those 3 Super Bowls. Yes, easily. Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind. No doubt. Because even the Barry Switzer team was basically just like take the keys to the vet and don't crash it. Yeah. Yeah, I give Jimmy Johnson a lot of credit. They tried to crash it into the White House a couple of times. The one next to the facility. You know what I mean. Borderline crack. Oh, it was a crack house. Excuse me. I apologize. So, enough of the cowboy bashing, right, buddy? Yeah. Okay, next weekend. This weekend. I love it. Love it. Saw some stats today that was pretty interesting. Mike Vrabel, 4-0 after a bye. 4-0 versus the spread after a bye. I'm telling you, people are sleeping on them, man. I think they are. They're an easy team to sleep on because they're not in a big market. They don't have a sexy name at quarterback, and they don't have an offense that puts up eye-popping stats. I don't mind. I think Tannehill's pretty damn good. He makes plays when he needs to make a play. But he's not there to make plays. He's there to hand the ball off, don't screw it up, and then make passes or make throws when you need to make play action passes is what he's going to do. Because you got a 6'5", 250-pound running back there who hasn't played in 9 weeks. I'm more interested in seeing how he does. Yeah. Versus, in this game than anything. I mean, is he going to come back at full speed? I mean, you would think no, but I mean, I'll tell you what, I can't doubt anything that Derrick Henry ever does. Sean McDermott is a great defensive mind, and that Buffalo defense is good and physical. Buffalo's playing KC. Oh yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, we got Joey Burrow. Yeah, but the Bungles are flying on the radar. Big time. Okay, so let's talk about that. You're right, man. I'm struggling today. No, that's all right, dude. I know. Hey, I've been sick how many times in the last 3 months, man. So you got your Bungles. Yeah, they're flying under the radar. They're the new hot team in town, and we're going to see what kind of player Bartos is. Okay, he hold on. Pretty good last week. Before we talk about the, I want to go back and talk about Tannehill for a second. Yeah. All right. If I am going to, how dare you try to fix my ADD? If I am going to, I would never dream of it. Attempt it. If I am going to compare Tannehill to, let's a quarterback turn of the century who has won a Super Bowl, the comparisons are in the like Dilfer and Brad Johnson area. I think he's better than them. You do, yeah. Because why exactly? I just think he's a better player than those guys. I really do. I think he's athletically really, really superior to those guys because he can do it running. He's sort
Yeah.
of like a smaller version of Allen, of Josh Allen.
Well, neither one of those guys. Now, look, to be fair, if you look at the teams that are left in the playoffs, the only one who has really done it, right, is Mahomes. I was going to say Tannehill hasn't really done it. Well, none of those guys has other than Pat Mahomes. And so, that gives him a huge advantage. But I guess, and again, maybe this is why people aren't taking the Titans very seriously or not seriously enough. In my mind, I still can't get over Tannehill and what he was with the Dolphins, which was okay, but not, in my mind, good enough to go to and win a Super Bowl. So, okay, so then you go to the other side of the ball. And Cincinnati, I said last weekend, if they were wearing different uniforms, I'd probably love the team a hell of a lot more. It's tough to get past the stigma of being the Bungles.
Jeez.
But if
angst coming against Cincinnati to Baltimore, I mean, how does Bengals get beat up?
look,
Not like a Yinzer.
here's my unified theory of sports, okay? It's that sports both punishes and rewards the undeserving.
Jeez.
So, the most put upon fan bases just get piled on, and the most spoiled fans just get more good things. So, I look at Cincy, and I'm like, oh, these guys are just doomed. They are doomed to live in purgatory forever. But if you look at all the fan bases that are left, up until recently, KC would have been in that group. They're all put upon, man. Buffalo, Titans fans, they've suffered a lot. That 1 yard short in the Super Bowl. Obviously, Bengals fans. So, look, we'll throw my angst theory out the window, especially for this game. Cincy, man, they are a really balanced, talented team.
They are.
And there is just some magic in that Burrow to Chase connection, right?
And you can also say, what I'm going to tell you right now is they got a pretty good damn offense. I mean, they one of these guys who don't have a good offensive line. They have a very good offensive line.
Very good point.
And that's how you win. I mean, what did you say? What are your 4 keys to playoff victory?
Run the ball, make clutch plays, pressure the passer, force turnovers.
If you can stop people from pressuring the quarterback, it is a huge thing.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
If you can pressure the quarterback and not put pressure on your quarterback, it's half the battle. I mean, go back to San Francisco and Dallas right there.
Well, just like Penn State in the Big Ten, having to recruit to defend spread offenses, then you are really up against it when you face like a Minnesota, a team that wants to put 400-pound guys on the line of scrimmage and run the ball. So the NFL is set up to defend the pass. So if you can force teams to have to defend the run and adapt to a run-first offense, you got a huge advantage.
Massive.
And, man, that's why whatever Derrick Henry looks like coming back off injury is going to be crucial. I do think I like the playoff experience, even if I'm not totally bought in on Tannehill, which I'm not. I like the fact that he's a vet with postseason experience, and they're playing at home. I probably like the Titans in that one.
But, I mean, they have improved it over the years. I mean, they've been there the last couple of years, but they've gotten upset. I mean, they beat Brady, 2 years ago was a big win for them?
Yes. Yep. Yeah.
I mean, it'll be interesting.
This is his last game in New England, right?
Yeah. He threw a pick 6 to end the game. A very interesting game. But Tennessee's a fan base that hasn't really been there. They're really having weather issues. I don't really think so. But I mean, if Buffalo can play defense, man.
Let me ask you one more question on this Cincy-Tennessee game. If I put you to it, who's a better quarterback in that game?
Quarterback right now is Joe Burrow.
Yeah, even in his second year, he's already the better quarterback, right?
He's the future of the NFL.
Yeah. I love watching that kid. They actually have a sneaky good ground game. I mean, they don't have a freak of nature like Derrick Henry in the backfield, but since he can run the ball, man, they are a balanced team.
They run it by numbers, man. They have 3 or 4 guys who just run around back there.
They got a good pass rush too. Yeah, I'll tell you what. Don't sleep on the Bengals, which is an incredible thing to be saying.
I mean, Tennessee again. I mean, it was just going off of what he's very good. Vrabel's very good after a bye and all this and all that. But I mean, I think it's time to take the next step for Mr. Joey Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals, man. It should be a very interesting game. It really should.
The future is now. Okay,
Yeah.
we're going to talk about the other games on the other side of the break. We are going to take a little rest here from State College's Quaker Steak and Lube, a great place to come to watch sports.
Oh, hell yeah.
Eat delicious wings, enjoy the wide selection of delicious sauces that they have, and maybe have one or two adult beverages if you are of age and of a mind. I am Chris Bucanani, filling in for Ironhead, who is off with the Penn State wrestling team, getting set to take on the Michigan Wolverines. I'm here with former Penn State offensive tackle Keith Goon Conlon.
Hello.
This is the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show, and we will be right back.
Lion Country Kia is offering exceptional deals on your new Kia during Kia's Command the Season event.
We have a nice selection on the 2021 Kia Sportage with various options and prices as low as $26,800, saving you $3,000. Or if you demand big power and towing capacity, slip into one of the 2021 Kia Sorrentos available on our lot, starting at $32,680.
Discover why Kia drivers throughout the area come to Lion Country Kia or visit online at lioncountrykia.com.
Quaker Steak and Lube is throwing open the garage doors and setting up the umbrellas. It's patio season. Come enjoy great food, drinks, and fun in the sun. There's always something happening at Quaker Steak and Lube, but we're really amping up our event calendars for our favorite time of year. Visit thelube.com to find out what's happening at your local lube this season. Lunch, happy hour, dinner, or late night, indoors or outside, at Quaker Steak and Lube, you'll always find big flavors, friendly faces, and lots of fun.
Hi, Johnny Broom here. If you're in the market for a new Hyundai or a pre-owned car, truck, van, or SUV, nobody beats a Blaze Alexander deal. But don't take my word for it.
Hey, Goon says tell him Johnny sent you.
Hey, tell him Johnny sent ya.
Tell him Johnny sent you.
Wait, tell him Juan or tell him Johnny sent you?
Tell him Johnny sent you.
Here at Bill Pickles Tap Room, we say,
tell him Johnny sent you.
And remember,
Hey, we're back here at State College's Quaker Steak and Lube. I'm Chris Bucanani with Keith Goon Conlon. This is the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show, and we were talking NFL Divisional round. Both like the Titans against the Bengals have put to it.
Yeah, home game. I told you before the show. I mean, people don't take you got to take into account how important that bye week was last week. It is so important. I mean, I said it the other day,
especially
Tuesday,
after an extra regular season game.
Yeah, I mean, watching Cam Akers play on Monday night, coming back from an Achilles tear, and he looked completely fresh. And I was like, well, the other guy's been playing 17 out of 18 straight weeks.
Yeah,
they're a little beat up, and he had fresh legs out there. And I mean, it is a huge, huge, huge thing in the playoffs. With that bye week that the Packers and the Titans have. So
the Achilles injury helped them, is what you're saying.
I guess, right? It slowed them down throughout the year so he can come back for the big playoff run. But, yeah, I think Tennessee will take it out there just, because they have what we've talked about. Got a quarterback who could make the throws, protect the quarterback, turn the ball over and do all those other things. And I think that they can do that. But again, Burrow and Chase might go off. They might get down 21-0 on 3 plays in the first quarter. Who the hell knows?
Yeah.
That guy to me is at times uncoverable, and Burrow can make the throws. And the only thing I worry about Burrow, and I don't really have this feeling with a lot of other quarterbacks, and he just looks so fragile out there. Like he looks like he get just absolutely broken in half.
Well, I mean,
Kyler Murray is
you have the knowledge
guy.
of the injury he got already.
Yeah. He's one step away from, possibly a career if he gets the wrong type of hit,
Yeah, and look, Vegas had the ball with a chance to go to overtime at the end of that game, and
no doubt about it,
there is no doubt in my mind that Tennessee is a better team than the Raiders.
Wow.
So there's that. Hey, to put a Penn State on this spin on this whole thing, let me give you a little stat from Wild Card Weekend. 12 teams, 9 had at least one Nittany Lion on the roster. Total of 14 Penn State alumni on active rosters, 16 if you count the guys who are on practice squad or IR. And every team in the NFC, including the Packers who were on bye, had at least one Penn Stater on the roster. So we are guaranteed for yet another year to have a Super Bowl where there's a Penn Stater representing. That's pretty cool.
Yes. I mean, when I went to school here, it was every Super Bowl. I don't know when that streak got broken.
Yeah, I can't remember either. It's only a handful of them. I think no more than 3 or 4.
That's crazy.
Total.
And the other one was, I always thought it was the Big 33 matchup.
Mm-hmm.
There's always a Big 33 member on in Super Bowls and stuff like that. I don't know, because the game has changed so much. The Big 33 game is the big stars aren't really playing in the Big 33 game anymore. So be interesting to see how many. Who do we have from Pennsylvania that would have, in the NFC teams? I mean, Amos is a Baltimore guy, so he wouldn't have played in that game.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and take a look at that. Yeah, it's an interesting one. Big 33 alumni. So what got me? It
is a pretty cool number.
Yeah, big time. What got me thinking about that is one of the teams that does not have a Penn State alum is Kansas City. So probably best money to come out of the AFC. But one of the most important Penn Staters, surprisingly, is Ryan Bates, who has stepped in after an injury on the Buffalo offensive line, got there via trade from the Eagles, where he was an undrafted free agent.
He was a practice squad player.
And he has really performed admirably. He has done a really nice job as the starting center for the Bills.
They threw that fat guy touchdown the other day, and I saw the 7. I was like, no, yes! I thought it was Bates making the catch. It wasn't, though. But, he's really, really stepped it up big time. And he's such a big athletic kid. I mean, I wish he had gotten drafted, all this and all that. But, I mean, you couldn't hide his talent. I mean, I would have loved him to come back another year, but I had talked to his father about that type of thing, or why he went and this and that, and it was a pretty good argument. I heard that if you're a 3rd or 4th rounder, okay, that's fine, but it's like my thing is that if you're told that you're a 3rd or 4th rounder now, but can you improve into a 1st or 2nd rounder, and if not, then you go. You know what I mean? I mean, what was his? Yeah, I guess. But I mean, anybody who believed he was going to be taken in the 3rd round of the NFL draft, like when he was underclass, or could he have played into that? When he left early. Yeah, and he went undrafted. I mean, and I don't think, look, clearly it worked out for him. It did, thank God. I always try to be. Look, I understand as a fan, you typically want all the guys to stay for as long as they can possibly stay. With some of our offensive linemen, I don't know that that's necessarily the case, if I'm being honest, at least from my perspective. But I do try to look at these things objectively. So, like, there are some guys who I look at and I say, yeah, they made the right decision to jump. Like Ellis Brooks is a guy who has come up in some conversations I've had where people think like, well, don't you think he should have come back for another year? And I say, you know what? Probably not, only because, to your point, Ellis Brooks is not going to elevate his draft stock any higher than it is, because the NFL doesn't really prioritize the type of position he plays. Like box linebacker is just never going to be a highly rated position. Look, Micah Parsons dropped to 11th because, and I don't buy any of that character stuff. It's just because the NFL doesn't value linebacker as a position the way it does some other spots, and he wasn't viewed as a pure pass rusher. Now, was that a mistake by some of the 10 teams ahead of him? Yeah, like quite obviously. I think he proved that. Yeah, but nevertheless, that's probably a smart move. In Bates's case, and look, we'll get back to talking Bills Chiefs in a minute, but a little Penn State digression here. Shocker with the two of us, right? What? In Bates's case, I felt like he probably could have played himself into draftable status had he come back. So he survived by, he survived by the skin of his teeth. He got through probably the hardest part, which was not getting totally written off in his first year. Yep. And now he's found his niche, and I think he's going to be okay to hang on. But so in that context, it was a good decision. He was a 3-year starter here. Was it a strategically smart decision in terms of his marketability? I'm going to say no. What we constantly say about tread on the tires. Yeah, that's a good point. You're going to play a 40 or 50 game schedule in college. That's a lot of tread off your tires that you could, you are limited as to how long you could play in the NFL. And that's a position where you beat your body up. And you only have so many plays you can play on your body, and you don't want to use them up in college when you're not getting paid if if that's how you're going to make your living. So yeah, that's fine. It all worked out for him. There's no doubt. But didn't 3 of the guys in his class go out early? And I don't understand why there's this fascination now at Penn State now. I mean, there's not many guys finishing there 4 and 5 years.
Now they're graduating a lot faster.
They're graduating a lot faster. I mean, that's amazing to me. I've heard that they have changed the structure up of graduation from when me and you were here.
That's possible.
Yeah,
I can't say
like you needed 132 132 credits to graduate when we were here, but now you can, and then some things would not transfer to other and yada yada yada. Now it's down to like 118, but you could transfer. That's why guys are graduating with multiple degrees, and it's good for them. Great for Penn State acknowledging and getting our guys to graduate, because I mean you can always hang our hat on that, man. I mean,
I can't say that I did not take. I think a high number of credits that were less than directly applicable to my major, which is to say not at all, right? So trimming that down a little bit is probably not the worst thing they could have done. So, it's funny. One of the other guys who came out in Bates's class and went the undrafted free agent route is Kevin Givens, and he's another guy who's playing this weekend for the 49ers, and he is also fought and scrapped his way into the starting lineup and making a very nice, potentially unsung, because people don't pay too much attention to the interior alignment all the time, unless you're Aaron Donald, but a really important contribution to his team's success. So good for him.
God, you say Aaron Donald, my God.
So okay. So we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk about the Niners and then the
Niners.
Bills.
They're the ones that I'm just like, they're the team that I'm watching. That like, oh my God, they look great, because I've been saying it all week. If that team that showed up in the first half and beat the living crap out of the Cowboys, I mean physically just imposed their will on them, if that team shows up in Green Bay, it's going to be pretty impressive. But now I'm falling into the same trap I warned you about, and that is you got to appreciate and respect the bye that Green Bay has, and they're going to be fresh out there, and they're not going to. They can run away from a guy coming at them and beating them up, and
they're fresh. They're
fresh,
at home.
And it's like one of those games that I think might be the best
being played in the dome,
and it might be that Green Bay just might come out and just absolutely trounce the 49ers. Because I mean, the Cowboys came back on them, and it almost looked like the 49ers ran out of gas.
Yeah,
I mean, there was no doubt. I mean, Green Bay.
I think that's exactly what happened.
Green Bay can go up 28-0, look like the Rams over the Cardinals real quick. So, I mean, the 49ers be on their P's and Q's, but if they go out there with the intention of slowing the game down, running the ball, playing physical, they have a chance. Because, Brady, Manning, Aaron Rodgers, all of these great quarterbacks, any quarterback, you start throwing people in their face and getting hit, that changes their game a little bit. Aaron Rodgers specifically. Brady, we're Eagle fans, so we know how Brady reacts when he starts getting jostled around.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers is the same freaking way. He starts getting pouty and snippy and throwing the ball around quick, and you never know, but they have to put pressure on him. And Bosa needs to play. Coming out of concussion this past weekend, they don't know if he's going to play yet. It's a pretty nasty hit he took, by the way, to get knocked out of that game.
Yeah.
I was like,
Can I ask you sort of a bigger picture football question?
Sure.
Do you think Aaron Rodgers is a top 6 all-time NFL quarterback?
Yeah. He makes throws. I'm just looking at it. I'm like, what in the hell?
It's hard not to look, because I went through this exercise.
He makes it look too easy. It's what it is. He makes the game look so easy and comes easy to him. That stuff he's doing, you're not appreciating, because it's like you don't think it's that hard because it looks so easy to him.
So let's talk about who the 6 might be. So you've got Montana,
Darryl LaMonica, Ron
Jaworski,
Roman Gabriel,
yes, Nick Foles. Okay, so you got Montana, Brady, Manning, Elway, Marino, and Aaron Rodgers has got to be in that group now, right? But he only has 1 Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Now, Marino doesn't have any, right? So the only guy in that group with only 1 Super Bowl, and Marino was 0, Rodgers 1. I think there is a fair amount of pressure to absolutely cement his legacy. He needs to get another ring before the end of his career.
He needs to step out from Brett Favre. I mean, imagine that. He still needs to do that this far into his career. Because I've talked to Green Bay Packer fans, a.k.a. Marco, who said to me in the past that Packer fans are like sort of embarrassed that like they've had 2 all-time great quarterbacks, top 15, 20 quarterbacks in the history
and only 2 rings.
The game.
Yep.
Over the last 25 years, and they only have 2 rings. That's something wrong.
Yeah.
But Rodgers, you're right. He may need this to prove himself to set himself up apart from Favre and join that like two-time Super Bowl winner.
And I think everything is set up for him because the playoffs run through Green Bay. Tampa Bay is beat up. And, so, look, I don't pay enough attention really to have a super strong opinion on it. But my general impression from afar is that Aaron Rodgers is kind of a jerk. That just in general. That for years you've heard stuff about like him like being estranged from his family and just being kind of a weirdo. But I think he leans into that. I think he owns it. And so I think all of the controversy from the offseason to the vaccination stuff to Hub Arkush, the Bears writer, saying he's not going to vote for him for MVP because he thinks he's a jerk. I think all of that is exactly what fuels him. And so the last thing you want is for Green Bay to have a good team, home field advantage, and Aaron Rodgers to be in a pissy mood. And he has just had everything in terms of what fuels that guy and makes him play at a great level.
Last year and touchdown Tommy went up there and whooped his ass.
Well, the interesting thing about that game is Brady played poorly.
He played all right in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, he threw multiple picks in that game.
Looking at that, I think that we talk about how it's hard for a team like Alabama or Georgia. It's hard for a team to beat somebody twice.
Yeah.
Where I think that Green Bay knows the pitfalls if Tampa Bay comes up there next week. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And they'll be
absolutely.
ready for it, in my opinion. I think Green Bay is going to come out of the East, or the NFC, the East. I think they're going to come out of the NFC. So I think they've learned a lot from last year. It doesn't stop. I mean, were you the one who's saying that Green Bay? My buddy. San Francisco's won the last 3 playoff games versus Green Bay.
Yeah.
2 in Lambeau.
Wow.
That's huge, man. Huge.
Man, who can forget the TO game?
Man.
And a crazy thing about that game is that TO catch is NFL legend. The Steve Young to Terrell Owens game-ending walk-off touchdown. That was that little window between when the NFL had replay, got rid of it, and brought it back. So there was no replay for that game. I want to say it was 96-ish, 95.
Nope.
A little bit later.
96, they won a Super Bowl. Packers did.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Marco
So
was starting that game, so he didn't start until 98.
Yeah, it's probably 95.
99. No.
I didn't think I was in college when that happened. Anyway, it doesn't matter when it happened. The point was there was no instant replay.
I bet you it was 98, 99.
Yeah, you're right. It was 98 actually probably sounds right. Okay. Doesn't matter. I'm tired. Sorry.
Damn eggnog got you again, huh?
That play never would have happened in the replay era because Jerry Rice fumbled 3 plays earlier.
Oh, yeah.
And, it's like nobody wants to remember it because, like, we all want to remember Jerry as never having made a bad play.
I forgot what you were talking about until you just said it. I was like, that's right, man.
And it was just he got the benefit of a bad call. But when you watch it on replay, there was, like, zero ambiguity. Jerry Rice fumbled.
Wow.
That play never would have happened in the modern NFL.
Good job, Booch.
Okay, all right. But you like the Packers over the
Packers
in
that game. If Bosa's not playing, I like the Packers to just completely dismantle and blow out the 49ers.
All right.
Because there's only one way to beat Rodgers, and that's put pressure on him. If they don't have him, they're not getting pressure on him. So
clearly hurt them
I think
quite a bit in the second half versus Dallas not having Bosa out there.
Agreed. And I really think that Buffalo is going to go to Kansas City and upset and shock the world.
Get the F out.
I do. I think that they're
all right. Convince me.
Well, I walk into a bar and I see Alan Weiser sitting at me with a Buffalo Bills hat. It's a lifelong Steeler fan wearing a Buffalo Bills hat. What's going on there?
It's America's team right now.
Yep. Well, it's the Pagula. I mean, and the Butlers, the McDermotts, they're all the people in my world. So I just think that they're ready. I just think that they're ready to make that turn. And I think that Josh Allen is so underappreciated. And I think that defense can run with the they're made to stop the Chiefs. Now, weather-wise, I mean, I hope there's bad weather. I think the Buffalo's going to play better in the bad weather conditions.
The weather is
now the other thing that hurts. I mean, the Bills have two really good safeties, but it's still a bad matchup versus Kelsey. No matter how good your safeties
Speaking of
are.
which, I just weep every time I see another accolade go to Jordan Poyer, the Bills safety, who was an all-pro safety out of the AFC this year, because he was a 7th-round pick of the Eagles, and I was like over the moon when we drafted him. I was like, I can't believe we got this guy in the 7th round. And the Eagles have had trash at safety ever since, and we somehow let him slip through our fingers. Super frustrated that we couldn't hold on to Jordan Poyer. 7th rounder. He would have been like the Jordan Mailata of the defense.
There you go.
Don't even get me started. Okay. Anyway, all right. You're buying into this.
I like the Bills. I mean,
on the road.
They're my home. That's my gut. That's a big one. But they're my pick. They're my boys, so I got to go for them. But I can talk myself in anything, and I just think that this is their time. It really is a little changing of the guard this year, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, they
got to slay the dragon. I mean, Kansas City, but they can.
Those generational dynasty teams, all they do is eat upstarts who think it's their time for breakfast, and that's Kansas City. Like, they're a machine. You look at the way they absolutely obliterated the second half of their schedule this year and emasculated the Steelers last weekend. I mean,
they went in there with one leg, so I get it.
Fine, but to take them apart that surgically, they're on a mission.
All right.
Now, on the other hand, all they needed to do was beat the Bengals, and they wouldn't have been playing last weekend.
Buffalo never talks to you again.
He knows my heart is with him, but I'm calling him like I see him.
But I like
Bill
fans. They still support their team, or Browns fans are just like, oh, we suck. It's over. They're worse than
Bills have great fans.
It's unbelievable.
I am so rooting. I'm rooting so much for Buffalo to win the Super Bowl. And I was having this conversation. So my roommate from college is from Orchard Park. He lives within a stone's throw of the stadium. He has season tickets.
Buffalo.
And his nickname is Buffalo.
His name is Buffalo.
You do not get more just die-hard Bills fan than this guy. And we were having a conversation about this was last year, like when the team was really starting to get good. And we were having a conversation about should the Bills make the Super Bowl? Where should he watch it? Because he was talking about, trying to get tickets and go to the game. And now I was in Philly for Super Bowl 52, so I got to go out to Broad Street immediately after the game.
I saw you eating horse manure.
That was me, for sure. And I told him, I said, look, you can go to the game. NFL environments are trash. Tickets are super expensive. Half the fans there are going to be for the opposing team. You're going to be in some other city, and it's mostly going to be corporate suits who are just there on some junket and they don't give a crap. So, yeah, you'll get to see the game live, and yes, you'll be happy. But there will be nothing in your life. There will be nothing like being in downtown Buffalo when you slay the dragon. That'll be a moment that will exist once in history, and then by the next morning, it'll be gone. It'll never exist again. There is nowhere else you want to be than with your tribe at the moment you get over for the first time. I mean, I wouldn't have been anywhere else on earth than Broad Street after Super Bowl 52. And again, my advice to anyone who is a Bills fan or any downtrodden franchise, if you get that shot to celebrate the title, do it with your people, because there's nothing like it.
You didn't want to go to Minneapolis?
I did not.
At minus 44 degrees?
I did not.
I was in Tampa.
Not appealing to me.
I was in Tampa for the Eagles Super Bowl.
I'm sure it was
for my trip.
Nice.
You want to hear something funny?
Yeah.
Is that in the rush to get all the tickets to go to the Super Bowl, the next day, I'm flying back from Tampa to Philly. People were flying from Minneapolis to Tampa back up to Philly. I was like, the only way we can get tickets. I was like, that's insane. And they're like, well, we had to get there.
Absolutely.
So I had a plane full of Eagle fans going home from Tampa.
That's awesome.
How the hell did you go? What are you doing here?
God.
Well, we just flew in from Minneapolis.
What a good time. So you like the Bills. I think I'm on the Chiefs.
I go Bills. How do I get the Bills to have are they ranked ahead of the Bengals?
So I think
yes.
You gotta have the Bengals win this weekend.
I want another game. I want another game up in Buffalo.
Yeah, me too.
But I wanted it like 6:30 at night next Sunday.
Yeah.
at minus 34 degrees. I want Tom Coughlin there getting frostbite underneath his eyeballs. That's what I want. And then I want that would be a big thing because did you see that the cold weather games that they're putting those games at night, like the Green Bay games on Saturday night.
Yeah.
And then the Chiefs play on Saturday or Sunday night, or the evening game on Sunday. So that would be a good choice. What game would they have on the AFC if the choice was to put the NFC or AFC first, or do they already declare who's going first?
That I'm not sure about.
It would be pretty cool to have two cold games. That to me is football.
I'm with you. So we got a comment here. Bills Niners Super Bowl. How would you like to see that?
Bills Niners.
That seems like a Super Bowl that should have happened in the 90s but never did.
Yeah, right. How did that not happen?
Yeah, I'd be all about that. That'd be fun to see. I mean, the two teams I don't hate, so I'm not going to be mad about the outcome either way.
No way. Screwed. Niners got enough. They don't deserve it. I want the Bengals. Well, the Bills. Let me see. Who do I want in the? I don't like the Rams. I've been turned off by the Rams.
Yeah, I mean, you're saying
turning into Jalen Ramsey. They're like every play, everybody's getting up talking smack.
You're saying the Niners have won enough. They haven't won anything in a while. They're, I think, the most palatable of the remaining teams.
Is the Niners.
Yeah.
They got, He's trying to think who's on the team.
I'm with you, man. Forget the Rams. The hell with them.
No, I don't like them at all.
Yeah. Not a likable team.
Unlikable
team.
And then they go out, and then, I was just sitting there the other day talking about how, that game was Drew Stafford's career the other night. If he didn't win that game, then everything they said about him for the last 15 years in Detroit comes true.
Yeah.
It comes to fruition because he's not deserving. He's not a PTPer. But he was on fire the other night.
Yeah,
He played pretty damn good. I mean, he's got some – they're the team who rolled all their chips in.
Yeah.
More
Big
so
time.
than anybody else. So they're they're a tough team coming out of the NFC. I mean,
you like them this weekend?
The Bucks are so beat up, dude. I mean, so beat up. If Wirfs can play at right tackle, then they have a shot. But if they don't, and what I watched Kerrigan do to their right tackle last weekend, I mean, you're going to tell me that
the first plays he made midnight green all season,
right? I forgot he was on the team until those plays.
Yeah.
So if Wirfs doesn't play right tackle for the Buccaneers, they're in some serious. Tom Brady's. It's the MO of beating Tom Brady, and that is just putting pressure, making him have happy feet, throw the ball quick, early, all of that stuff. And he doesn't have the receivers. He's missing AB. He's missing Godwin.
Hasn't lost an NFC playoff game.
I know. He's got more wins than the Cowboys in the last 30 years.
He does. He does. It's wonderful.
Yikes! I think that the Rams are going to come out of there because I don't think that Wirfs can play, and if he does, it's not going to be at his high caliber, his all-pro caliber. I mean, they have 3 all-pro offensive linemen. 3.
Yeah.
And that's not going to the Pro Bowl. That's 3 literally guys that are the top player in their positions. By the way, Jason Kelsey got his 4th all-pro, and I believe that he has tracked to now be the next Hall of Fame center.
Okay. All right. Finally, I've convinced you.
Well, that's a 4th one.
Okay.
That's a big one. He's got more so on paper. He's got a lot of accolades.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that he played all those snaps that one season and then went there for one play and had all the 122 some starts in a row.
Unbelievable.
God bless him.
Mike the mailman is good buddies with Jason Kelsey's dad. He says he's a hell of a guy.
How the hell is the mailman friends with him?
But because he lives in Ardmore and he's friends with Mike's daughter. So they watch Eagles games together at a bar on Sundays.
Jason Kelsey's dad.
Mm-hmm.
From Cleveland.
Yep.
Lives outside of Ardmore, PA.
Yep.
So they moved there, or the parents?
Yeah, I think they moved there when he got drafted by the Eagles.
Wow. So I'm sure that Travis is none too happy that he has to go visit his parents in the Philadelphia area.
I mean, maybe they'll move to Kansas City when Jason retired. But can you imagine being the dad of 2 Hall of Famers, 2 NFL Hall of Famers?
You see what the mom did?
No.
She left the Eagles game and flew to the Chiefs game.
That's cool.
And got there after the first quarter ended.
Amazing.
That's Mom of the Year stuff right there. Buddy.
Yeah. I mean, to have 2 NFL players in the family is crazy. To have 2 Hall of Famers is
at 2 different positions too.
Insane.
And who else would? I mean, I don't think of anybody. Man, is there any other NFL brothers that are in? I mean, I don't think the Youngbloods are both in the NFL. But I don't think they were even brothers.
I don't think Eli is going to go to the Hall of Fame.
Yes, he is.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
No,
he's
not.
2 Super Bowls.
This could be our next Hall of Fame argument now that we're off the Jason Kelce.
Now we're all Jason Kelce's getting in.
My God. Eli Manning. You've got to be kidding me.
He's
really?
from New York.
Yeah,
He's got 2 Super Bowls. They're going to vote him in.
Muddled.
What's his last name?
Yeah.
He's getting in for sure.
Fair.
For sure.
So I guess a better question will be, will he get in before Arch Manning gets into the NFL Hall of Fame?
Got no shot.
No, Arch.
Oh, the kid.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. And whose kid is that? Is that Cooper's kid?
That is Cooper's kid, yeah. It's Cooper's finally going to get his revenge. His kid's going to be better than any of them. Yeah, why not? I think he should be on the Manning cast.
Oh, yeah, what a job. What a life he's got. He's like, yes. And
Okay.
I love it. The Caesars Books is doing to him. I'm a Caesar. And he's like, I like you. I like you best, Coop. I like you best. And he's just funny to sit in the background.
All right. I got to get us out of here. Goon, this has been fun. It's always a pleasure sitting in. We are looking forward to having Ironhead back next week, and I hope he comes back victorious. Penn State doing well in wrestling this weekend. To review, you have got the Titans and the Bills coming out of the AFC.
Correct.
And you have the Rams and Packers. Boy, that is an unattractive NFC title game.
I'm not really known for my attractiveness. I mean,
Yeah,
I've
fair.
come to this conclusion, Chris.
Yeah. I mean, I think I tend to agree. I think I've got all the same picks. I don't know, man. I am really tempted to go with the Buccaneers, though. I have a tough time going against
and that's
Tom
the other
Brady.
thing I was saying. I was like, you can't vote against, you can't root against, I mean, not root, but you can't bet against Tom Brady. It's just like until he gets knocked off that, top of the mountain.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, it's not really his mountain. I mean, he's got nobody holding him up there, I just think that they're in real trouble physically with all the injuries. And I do want to see that team that we're looking at, the LA Rams, go out to Green Bay when it's like minus 14 degrees and see how they do, how the Hollywood boys do out in really, really, really cold.
Yes.
I think it would be awesome.
Agreed.
And I hope.
And, another thing I will look forward to this weekend, getting to see the ageless one, Robbie Gould, lace him up again. How great was he in that Dallas game last weekend?
And then you watch the Bears fans, and they're like, what the hell do we do that for?
Yeah.
What are they thinking?
Idiotic. It's idiotic. Robbie Gould does not double doink, I'll tell you that. So, yeah.
Beautiful.
Chicago's loss is
Way to
Niners
suck it
game.
up, man. Pushing through today.
Absolutely.
Don't touch me.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us here on the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead Show. Back at 3 p.m. next Tuesday. State College's Quaker Steak and Lube is open. Come on out. Join us. Have a drink with us.
6
Enjoy your
o'clock
weekend.
tomorrow night, Big Ten Network Wrestling.
Go Bills.
Go Penn State.